My loves, for the month of November, we are featuring the best of my business episodes from 2025. Today's run has some extra divine timing because as you're listening to this, if you're listening to it on our drop week, we are in Mercury Retrograde. Mercury Retrograde is all about review, rewinding, cleaning things up with intention before they pile up and you got to set something on fire. Today's conversation is about the things that as a team we decided to let go of this year in terms of policies, behaviors, things we did to get the bottom line up, just ways of doing things that felt outmoded and not expansive anymore. This will hopefully be inspiration for your creativity, for your prosperity, and your kitchen cupboards. I'm so glad you're here. Always with love, Danielle. My loves, I have a long, hopefully inspiring list of 35 things that we stopped doing in my business, our business, from mindset to tech stack. In my previous episode, the theme was about why and how we hit pause on obsessing about rapid financial growth in the business. The operative words there are obsessing and rapid. We're still in a financial growth, but we want to 10x in a really heart-centered way, in a sane way where our nervous systems are regulated and we are happy, which has led to a lot more prosperity, by the way. Funny how that works. And I shared in that episode our Be Well business formula. So if you are a leader, a manager, an entrepreneur, a creative with a capital C, or even a creative with a small c, it would definitely be in your interest to check out that episode. Now, as for today, if you are not an entrepreneur, what I'm hoping to deliver is some inspiration for hitting pause, bailing, canceling with integrity, retiring, phasing out, and overall generating the courage to let go of things that no longer serve your nervous system, the nervous system of your team, your family, your business, your community, where we are choosing people over profits, which, not so ironically, at least in our case, has led to more profit. So I'll walk you through the list here. By the way, I'm not the first human, but in my ecosystem of creativity, I first started talking about the power of a stop doing list in the fire starter sessions. The audio version of that, by the way, is pretty cool. And this whole practice of the stop doing list, she has stood the test of time. All right, let's get into it. So the span of this business and lifestyle renovation goes over about 24 months. We took it down to the studs and we rebuilt everything while we were in motion. Let me start with content and creative. These are really the segments of the business, and these same segments are actually how we design the agendas for our staff meetings and our operating system. So under content and creative, we stopped doing the following. I stopped letting editorial content fall to the bottom of the priority list with the team. Take full responsibility for this. I'd gotten into this habit, not a good one, of creating everything in a silo by myself. And I would hand my work over, whether it was something in writing or an audio or another course. Then I would hand that over to the team, the part of the team, the people who were going to market it, made its way into the conveyor belt of promotion, as it should, except it was always this race to launch day. And I often, not always, but I often felt alone in the creative process. And this is a really painful way to do things when your whole reason for existing is creating content, teaching that is going to help alleviate suffering. And it's actually the process itself is creating some suffering. for yourself. And when you are a content personality driven business, it just don't make sense. It's Wacky Wednesday. So now content is queen because I'm a content creator. So I get a vision, so to speak. It's not like I get these downloads all the time. Sometimes I'm just like, I have an idea. I want to try it out. Other times I actually do feel like it's a bit of a transmission that's coming in. And then we ideate as a team. And diversity makes everything absolutely way better. So much is so much richer. We talk about editorial at the start of our meetings, not at the end. Sounds like a small thing, but it's actually a big thing. We're not exhausted after 90 minutes of jamming about marketing and finance and algorithm bitching and all of that. So we start with what matters most. We overhauled most of our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, around content creation and management. So now the business operates more like a magazine than an online marketing company. And that's the way it's supposed to be. That is why I am here. Also on the stop doing list, which is very extensive. We stepped back from a coaching contract that could have been quite lucrative with $1 billion household name consultancy. We were just not aligned. I basically didn't like how they talked to us. And it didn't feel like they were really trusting of what we were going to deliver. And some of that so understandable because the person who brought me in to do this heart-centered leadership program with the consultancy, they left, handed the baton over to somebody else. And they're just like, who's this woo energy former think tank director? Did she really run a think tank in DC? Yes, I did. And I can make your people cry in the best kind of way because my stuff is moving. Anyway, peace out. Next on the stop doing list. We used to have these really gorgeous digital guidebooks that we delivered every single month in our membership. And it was a really heavy lift in terms of graphic design. We're spending hours and a lot of money, a lot of time on this, and I had to let it go. We switched the creative focus to delivering all the teachings in video and audio format. Because that's really where I shine. And the success with that is that the Heart Center Collective is growing organically. It hasn't held us back at all in terms of new people coming in. And this is what I was really going for, is engagement with all of the teaching material. The curriculum is increasing every month. People want it in video. Of course, there was some morning like, ooh, I really loved those guidebooks. They're so pretty. I know, but I just want to get the how-to and the steps and the metaphysics into you. And I got to do it in a way that is really graceful and economical, actually, bonus. And it turns out that it's stickier for everybody. So that was a good move. We made a massive decision to sunset our licensing model. So we have the Heart Center Leadership Program. It was $1,500 per license to get all their curriculum. That's a big deal in terms of price points. And I felt like the licensing model was creating a barrier to entry. So what I noticed happening was Jane would buy the Heart Center Leadership license. And a year would pass and it would come time for her to renew her license to continue to use the material in integrity in her coaching and her workshops, etc. And life would happen. There would be say, slamdemics that would happen, or Jane had a baby, or Jane had to go take care of her mother, or her business model shifted or something, and she hadn't used the content, and so she felt bummed out and like a failure and like she wasted her money, even though she learned a lot from just being in our orbit, and she wouldn't renew. So I would lose her completely. So we decided, forget the licensing thing. I mean, the idea with that in terms of business growth and profit is you want to create models where people are renewing, their participation and their investment. And I thought, well, I'll find other ways to grow. I just want you to be able to run wild with this content that is out adding value to individuals and teams. And if you want business support, then you can come and pay additionally for that. And we have this special business track in our Heart Center Collective. And that was a huge relief. Another part of the relief around the licensing model was when you license someone, and I've done this a couple times. I mean, I built Desire Map this way. And we got to like 400 facilitators operating in 30 plus countries. And they were all, and more than 50% of them were renewing every year for multiple years. It worked. And the vibe is when someone is a licensee, there's a greater expectation from them for you to support them to grow their business. And I've just got clearer and clearer that I didn't want to be in that business. I'm in the spiritual direction business. I will give you spiritual direction for how to grow a really profitable business and to market like a boss. And I'll give you spiritual direction on relationships. But my sweet spot is not the business of helping people start their businesses, So sunset, licensing, peace. We also sunset my Nourish System program, which is actually pretty brilliant, but it was distracting from our heart-centered collective offering. I just want everybody to come into that community. I don't want to distract you with learning about your nervous system management outside of the collective. Come in and I will teach you all that stuff there and you get all that content free. So that was a bit of a sting because that's a $300 program. And that was relatively successful, but I got to choose my one thing and focus and build on that. I was doing a standalone weekly blog post. So I'd think about something genius and compelling to write about that had nothing to do with what I was also going to podcast about that week. So that was double the content. That was double the genius I was demanding of myself. So what I've done, and you are experiencing this now, is I have one weekly topic and I write about it and then I podcast about the same topic. I just ad lib more layers, more nuance, more stories in the podcast. I think actually the best learning tool is the podcast. But if you are a reader, you can just go to daniellelaporte.com/subscribe, or all of my stuff is on Substack now, which I'm loving. More to come on that. We cleaned up our mailing list. Oh, wait, no, I have something really exciting to tell you about the success of merging the blog post with the podcast. My podcast, the one you are listening to now, can you believe this? It ranks in the top 2% of podcasts in the world. I asked Dana to double check that number more than once. And it is true and it is all wow. And I am so grateful. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening through to the end, because listen through rate really helps. Thank you for forwarding it. Thank you for leaving a review. We are infusing the algorithm with light. Next thing on our stop doing list. This one was painful. We cleaned up our mailing list. So that is an ego-wrenching process of scrubbing the stale emails from my list that was at 222,000 subscribers. Isn't that a magical number? Well, not anymore. I built that list up over, my 8 years plus. And then I wouldn't say meticulously, but mindfully. So for those of you who know that you have to scrub your list, you're going to hear my story and you're going to want to scrub your list. You need to do it in tranches. Don't just go clean up and check deliverability rates. I don't even actually know what I'm talking about here, because we hired a consultant to do this. And the consultant said, don't do the clean all at once because Google won't like that. So we would take like 10,000 subscribers and put them into our new system and test them out. And then 2 weeks later, we take another 20,000 subscribers. And that way we were able to have people re-opt in and not lose people. And I don't know, something good happened. But here's the thing. We went from 222,000 subscribers. That's just with my email list. That doesn't include about another 500,000 on socials. And it went down to 65,000 subscribers. But here's the beauty. Those are 65,000 interested, engaged, loving, active subscribers. And you know what happened with fewer subscribers who are more engaged? Our open rate shot up to 47%. And our deliverability went to an A+ ranking. For those of you who know or don't know, this is the gold standard in email list building. And the majority of our click-through rates have doubled. So that was smart. You want people at your party who want to be at the party. They're dressed up. They're opening your stuff. In terms of our day planner business, we have committed to pre-order basis only. So it used to be I would go print thousands and thousands of day planners and work my ass off to sell every single one of them before January 15th. Because after that time, who wants to buy a planner for the new year? And it is a hustle, let me tell you. So now we're just doing, hey, it's August, it's September, and the day planner for the coming year is coming out. Here's your time to order it. We will ship it in a couple months. And after that, snooze, you lose. New Year's going to happen without you. And that means I don't have to carry these heavy inventories and I don't have to do these mega campaigns. Just the power of the Heart-Centered Day Planner will build on its own. And we have this devoted audience and they're gifting it and blogging about it and doing all the things. One thing I stopped doing was I chose not to renew my place in this really wonderful high-ticket mastermind that I was in order to save on travel commitments. I had to get on an airplane 3 or 4 times a year to participate, and that didn't always work out, and I had to let that go. I stopped doing that mastermind. Okay, next category for our stop doing list is work and lifestyle. No more team meetings on Mondays. I've been wanting to do that for years. Why? Because we operate in alignment with the planets. Mondays are not ideal energetically, metaphysically, astrologically. Mondays are ruled by the moon. If you've been around for a while, you've been hearing me talk about the energetics of the days of the week. Monday, moon ruling, that's shadowy, that's emotional. So we have our team meetings where I participate on Tuesdays. No more working 6 to 7 days a week. No more 12-hour days. This is the result of all the sanity we've put in place with all these other systems and just choosing to put life ahead of hustle. We paused doing 2 podcasts a week. You may have noticed. Thank you if you did notice. And if you did notice, guess what? They're going to be coming back. Why did we pause it? Because we just didn't have the bandwidth. I needed to get this team in order. And yeah, I had to grow other things. So we also, this was a big one for us. We stopped doing cart close membership campaigns. So by cart close, that means you say, hey, from June 1 to June 15th, you've got to join my membership or you're not going to be allowed in anymore. And I've played with all versions of this, that the door is open all the time or that cart is open just this amount of time for a few times a year. And you have these big, loud, tenacious campaigns. I'm not doing that anymore. I want the door open all the time so that if you want to come in and get the learning on how to heal anger or our course on forgiveness or the metaphysics of the days of the week, you can come in and you can get those as a course or as part of our Heart-Centered Collective. So that's what I'm doing. Oh, I love this one. We stopped giving a shit about Instagram growth. Doesn't mean we don't care deeply about the quality of our content on Instagram. I love connecting with people. I love throwing down on stories. I love DMs. I love my people. I don't love kissing ass to the algorithm. It is not a healthy dynamic. I could go on, but I won't. I will tell you though, that since we just eased up and we're just like, this is not this is not a healthy relationship with kissing ass all the time. Here's my metaphor. I can throw down on this a bit more. My metaphor for the algorithm of Instagram is, it's like putting a stamp on an envelope and the post office saying to you, if you want to increase your chances that your letter actually gets delivered, here's all the things you have to do. All these specifics to play the game. No, man, I put my stamp on and the deal is you deliver it. So no, Instagram. People subscribe, people follow my Instagram account because they want my stuff. So if I have 250,000 followers, could you please send my reels and my stories and my posts to those 250,000 followers who are wanting my stuff? Don't tell me what time of day. Don't tell me how many times I can and cannot. Please do not censor me and tell me what words I can and cannot use that are in favor of your political and otherwise agendas for you to get my light content, LIGHT, higher consciousness stuff to the people who are looking for it. That's called toxic. That's called bad boyfriend. But just like a relationship with a toxic boyfriend, when you ignore them, they get nicer to you. When we stopped caring so much about Instagram growth, my Instagram account grew. Another change. I switched up from doing live workshop-like classes in our Heart Center Collective to recording the monthly teaching. So now what I do is I create shorter segments of content. So instead of a 75-minute live class that only a certain amount of people can go to because of their day structure and their time zone, I deliver 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute segments of that month's teaching theme. So this month's teaching theme was on abundance. So you got 20 minutes of me throwing down on prosperity consciousness. And then you get a 5-minute video on how we're going to work with this affirmation for abundance for the month. It's much more accessible, usable, ingestible, and the learning transference increases. Like the knowledge actually lands and it gets remembered. People are going back to the videos. And by people, I mean our Heart-Centered Collective members. And then we still do a monthly live call for Q&A and for connection, which I love. And that works better for me as a teacher because I'm good. I'm really good, but I'm not a stellar workshop leader, actually. It's just not how I'm wired. I'm more of a preacher. I don't really want to wait for you to come to your conclusions in the workshop. I can do that. I am really loving at holding space. I have the patience, but where I really excel and I really light up and therefore I create more value is with multimedia. And just being able to throw down on like, let me tell you the 5 steps. Let me make them as clear as possible. Let me give you my live energy that I'm going to put into this recording. But it's working better for all of us because collective people are loving it. And my content is getting more fire with every class, every topic, every course, every month. Another thing that we stopped doing was the team, so it would be Dana, David, and sometimes Melissa, 3 of my people, all at once. That is not great return on investment. We're leading co-working sessions with the community. We just retired that. Not enough people were showing up, and it's a lot of my people given too much of their time that they could be adding value in another place. We backed away from the new year, new you, start strong pressure. I mean, I've been pumping the brakes on that for a couple years, but we really committed to it as a team. We committed to Lunar New Year being our kickoff. We decided no more pressure with this end of the year clarifying about what we were going to do in the so-called New Year. Just stop. We're tired. It's the end of the year. We're tired. It's winter. It's cold. We really want to just eat mashed potatoes and keep being of service. So we are in sync, and we're practicing what we're preaching, basically. Lunar New Year, which is different every year because it's in sync with the planetary energy, which you want to hook your wagon to. That's when we do our year in review process. We look at what worked, what didn't work, and where we really want to go. And then, this is this fairly new addition, we intend that we will be clear by spring. Not we're going to get clear in the 2 weeks of Lunar New Year. We're really looking at springtime as our, guess what, time to blossom and be clear and make commitments. Okay, next category for our stop doing list is people power. So we said farewell and thank you to some roles and to some people in them. It's pretty dramatic in terms of quantity. Of course, some of these partings were very natural, easy phase outs. Everybody was understanding. Some of them were just people finding new gigs that they were more aligned with. We were as upfront as we could be about the direction things were going to take and how jobs were going to shift. And then some of these phase outs, these blessings and releasings, they were really stressful. It's human nature, right? We phased out 12 specialized positions on the team, 12 people. In addition to those specialized positions, we decided that we no longer needed a fractional CFO, that we no longer needed to work with a full court design agency, graphic design agency, that we learned a lot. We did not need a Facebook ads agency. Lots of people have lots of success and growth. We figured out a way to take that in-house. Podcast agent and podcast network, that was disastrous for us. I was like, let's finally, after all these years, let's finally monetize the podcast. I should be running some ads. We should be making some kickback money like everybody else at this level. I mean, top 2% podcasts in the world. Let's make some bank. And no, didn't work because they were serving up Botox ads, and I'd be in my, melodic teaching voice and let's talk about your inner child. And they'd be like, hey, I'm Joe. Let's talk about Botox, babe. Never again. Also decided working with a literary agency, it's not a fit for me. We said, hello, welcome to a director of marketing and impact. That's one position. A membership specialist, really giving love and guidance to our heart-centered collective, and to a content and community director who, by the way, was also the first man on our core team. Never hired a dude before to be in a management position. And we are so blessed to have that masculine energy work with us. And we got on the right amount of AI on the team for the right reasons, going in the right direction. AI is really helping us optimize our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, and clean a bunch of stuff up. We do not use it to write any kind of copy. That is all me. It will always be me. We don't use it to talk to other humans because it's not human. Artificial intelligence. We use our intelligence and always will. The success of that, so much success. We laugh more, we're more creative, all the things. I talk a lot about that in the previous Be Well podcast episode. The success, this is big for us. It would be big for anybody. When I began this business renovation, 24-month period, monthly payroll and contractor payments averaged about $90,000 US a month. And now we got that down to $41,000 a month. I'll do the math for you. That is a savings of $588,000 US dollars a year, which is about a gajillion Canadian dollars. And that is health, all kinds of health. We're going to bring on a few more people in the next 6 months-ish. There will be a really dynamic freelancer who's going to help us with my new book and course campaign. I got a new book coming out in the fall of 2025. Wow. And we're also looking for a digital designer, also known as a graphic designer. And it's looking likely that we need a new tech director in place because I'm building what I hope will be one of the most useful, successful, effectual apps for calendar and wellness management. Let's talk about tech. Entrepreneurial nerds are going to love this list. This is the last section I'm going to run through for our stop doing list, and I will be brisk about it. We stopped using Asana. Let me tell you what kind of success this led to. Asana is a really robust, beautiful task management system, which I loved while I loved it. And part of the shortfall of this was that we overused it as a management tool, as a people management tool. Once we let go of the task management system, we quickly became a self-managing team. So no one on the team anymore is waiting to be told what to do because the task is being assigned to them via a task management system. Forget it. We don't need that. You're a grown-up. If you don't know what your role is, get clear however you have to, however you can, on what the role is. And you're responsible for tracking your tasks in the way that works for you. If you want to use Asana or a napkin, you can do that. If you want to keep it all in your head or iPhone notes or a Notion, do that. Really was transformational for team. We also stopped using Viber, MailChimp, Klaviyo, Kajabi, the extended version of Shopify. We still use Shopify and we're really happy with it. We stopped using our web host. Just going to leave it at that. We stopped using Later. I don't even know what that is, but it's on the list that Dana gave me for things we stopped doing. We stopped using Advent. I don't know why, but we did. Also stopped using Calendly. Zoom, the extended version. I think that's because we were maxing out. I get thousands of people are attending our solstice and equinox meditations, and there was a reason. I don't know, ask Dana. And I stopped using Carbonite as my backup system for my computer because most of it is in the cloud, which is kind of gross. So I'm just going to do the old-fashioned, what do you call it, hard drive thing, like once a month, because you got to be prepared for all the meltdowns anyway. In place of all that tech that we deep-sixed, we said hello to Mighty Networks. Hi, we love you. Thank you for giving us such a warm welcome. We said hello to Kit, formerly ConvertKit. We have a different, I don't know what system with Shopify, but we love them. We got off of Shopify. We went back to them. We love Slack. We love Notion. It is the dreamy, move things around, almost kind of 3D feeling Google Doc on steroid mushroom system that I've been dreaming of for years. Love Notion. Thank you. Somehow you need to partner with us. We are now using Metricool, which is a social media scheduler and analytics tool. Does most of what we want. We really learned the beauty of Canva and having our templates in there. So first you got to come up with a really strong branding set of guidelines, like your style sheet. And everybody has to adhere to that. Like, we don't use anything other than these fonts and these colors. And then you set some basic templates up in Canva and you rock it. It's not totally sufficient for where we're going, but it has worked in this time of rebuild. And we said hello to Substack, and it is a beautiful romance that I pray will stand the test of time. And also Substack, if you are listening, thank you for the warm welcome and all the exciting ways we are going to serve people together. You may be wanting to know for this finale, who is on the team, what kind of roles we have. There's me. I am in charge of vision and content, Doi. Dana is our chief of staff. I feel she operates as a VP who just is so willing to get down and dirty and just do what needs to be done in terms of, hey, it's late at night and we need this graphic. I'll do it in Canva. David, our dude, our beloved dude, content and community director. Leah is our marketing and impact director, irreplaceable genius. Jen is our operations manager. Jen has been with me for 14 years. Loyal, wise, love me, the Jen. Melissa is our membership specialist. She's quarter time. Everybody else I've mentioned is full time. And then we have Kelly, who is the podcast editor. And the reason I sound so flub free in all of my podcasts, and you get the ding dongs and the music and everything is impeccable because of Kelly. Kelly's, I don't know, Kelly, are you quarter time? You can just leave that in there. And then of course we have a handful of accounting agencies because US, Canada, and all the things. And that is our tour de force of stopping doing, of pausing, dumping, letting go, blessing, releasing, quitting, retiring, phasing out, sunsetting, freeing ourselves up to be of deeper service and to be healthier people so we can be of even deeper service. Yeah, that's it. That's everything. One new announcement. Now that we have all of this sanity in this space, I can get back to the joy of one part of my ecosystem, which is working one-on-one with entrepreneurs. So I have a new service now called Infusion sessions, really high value, high ticket, deep dives, and they are booking up. I announced them last week, and I'm really legit thrilled to work with the right people. Right people, by that I mean heart-centered and really want to grow in quantum ways that don't drain their life force. In fact, the true definition of quantum is it's a big leap that is sustainable. Ideally, it's sustainable. Well, that's my definition of quantum. Why don't you come and work with me and we'll figure out our definition of quantum for your business. I can help you stop doing the right things at the right time and up your prosperity in all the right places. So I'm ready when you are. Head to daniellelaporte.com/infusion. New feature in podcast and my Friday email is my what's working, what's not working. So this one is personal. I mean, they're all personal. What's working is the couples counseling that my man and I have been doing with Dr. Karen Doherty. I found out about her by watching the ADHD Chatter podcast. Really great content. And Karen specializes in couples where you have one neuronormie. In this situation, that would be me. And you have one neurodiverse human, which in this case would be my Mr. Man, gorgeous soul, who just figured out since we've been a couple that he's been dealing with ADHD his whole life, or more specifically not dealing with it because didn't know that that was part of his karma and his situation for healing. Karen is seasoned. She is deft and direct, the way I like it. She's also booked months in advance, but if you want to work with her, learn from her, she's doing a webinar on June 3rd, 2025. I don't know when you're listening to this, called Is My Relationship Impacted by Neurodiversity? Well, I can tell you it is. You can find out more by going directly to Karen's site. Now, listen carefully because there is another woman with the same name who's also a psychotherapist. It's a different person. So it's Karen Doherty Coaching, I'll spell that for you, .co.uk. So Karen, Karen Doherty coaching.co.uk. Karen Doherty, relationship therapist and coach, neurodiversity specialist. And if you head to her for therapy or for her workshop, if the timing works, tell her Danielle sent you. This leads me to my what's not working category. Well, as per the preceding, neurodivergence can push relationships in all kinds of ways. And in Karen's words, so I'm borrowing from her, in the area of communication, there can be unclear messaging heard in multiple ways and often full of assumption on both people's parts, on the neuronormative and the neurodiverse person. There can be emotional dysregulation, including RSD. RSD stands for rejection sensitivity dysphoria, and that creates all kinds of reactive responses in both people. And then neurodivergence can directly impact executive function. And as Karen puts it, the unequal mental load can leave one partner feeling overloaded and resentful. But, and these are my words, and I think Karen would echo this, healing is oh so possible, deeply possible, with awareness. Got to know what you're dealing with and where it comes from. There are communication tools, plenty of them, and you have to have tenacious love, deep acceptance, the virtue of acceptance with a capital A, of all the things, of the challenges of neurodiversity and the blessings of it, and just all of it. Yeah. The highs and the lows of incarnating with another soul who's also incarnated to have every unhealed wound poked at by the person that they find the sexiest. Go figure. Thank you for hanging in these last 2 episodes of With Love, Danielle, and my Friday writing post on this whole deep dive into a Be Well business model. If you are entrepreneurial, please share it. I think it's going to help a lot of people get back to sanity and get more time with their families and their lovers and actually become more profitable in all the ways. And next episode, I'm going to switch gears. We're going to move into prosperity consciousness. And I've got a really beautiful audio offering for you on one of my favorite things, abundance. Abundance, by the way, is only positivity. It's not like an abundance of bills to pay. It's an abundance of goodness. I've got some declarations ready and waiting for you, always, always. With love, Danielle. Thank you so much for listening, for feeling, for spreading the word. With love.